good intentions. So pull me closer, why don't you pull me close? Why don't you come on over? I can't just let you go. Oh baby, why don't you just meet me in the middle? I'm losing my mind just a little. So why don't you just meet me in the middle? In the middle.
Hello, Royse City High School, and welcome to a very special travel edition of Rctv. I'm Cameron Worthy.
And I'm Shelby Dorshow. We've waited all year, traveled far and wide to bring you this episode today from the beautiful St. Croix, located in the Virgin Islands.
But we haven't just been here chilling on the beach like you've seen on our Snapchat stories. We've been hard at work, filming and editing for an entire week to share with you some truly incredible stories.
So without further ado, let's get started. So on our first day here, we ventured out to the city of Christiansted, aka the downtown part of St. Croix. We split up into groups and were told to go find an interesting story on our own.
Hannah Grisham found a museum where one of our founding fathers, Alexander Hamilton, grew up here on the island of St. Croix. Here's Hannah with the story.
You may know the name Alexander Hamilton from the hit Broadway musical by Lin-Manuel Miranda. The musical gives us a few short glimpses into Alexander's childhood, but you may be surprised at the things Miranda did mention in the musical. Hamilton was definitely a man of many words and an important part of America today. But what shaped his life before he immigrated to the U.S.? We traveled to the beautiful island of St. Croix, but his childhood was not as pretty as the views which he saw. Alexander Hamilton was born January 11, 1755, to Rachel Fawcett and James Hamilton. James Hamilton abandoned Rachel Fawcett and their two sons, James Jr. and Alexander, allegedly to spare her a charge of adultery and desertion. Therefore, after, Rachel moved with the young Hamilton and his brother to St. Croix, where she supported her children by keeping a small store in Christiansted. She contracted yellow fever and died on February 19, 1768, at 1:02 a.m., leaving Hamilton orphaned. This may have had severe emotional consequences for him, even by the standards of an 18th century childhood. In probate court, Fawcett's first husband seized her estate and obtained the few valuables that she had owned. He and James Jr. were briefly taken in by their cousin Peter Leighton. However, Leighton committed suicide. The brothers were subsequently separated. James apprenticed with a local carpenter, while Alexander was given a home by the Nevis merchant Thomas Stevens. Hamilton became a clerk at the local import-export firm Beekman & Kruger, which traded with New York and New England. He wrote a letter to his father that was a detailed account of the hurricane which had devastated Christiansted on August 30th, 1772. Hugh Knox, a minister and journalist, published a letter in the Royal Danish American Gazette, who collected a fund to send Hamilton to the North American colonies for his education. And from there, Alexander grew to be one of the most important founding fathers and leave a mark on the U.S. even today.
While Hannah was hard at work, my group was as well. We found a local diver shop called Dive Experience, located along the pier of Christiansted. I'm right here at Dive Experience in the beautiful Christiansted Boardwalk in the Virgin Islands in the heart of St. Croix. This business has been around for over 35 years, so when it comes to the diving waters of the beautiful St. Croix, they know all about it. Clear water, bright fish, and giant tanks. That's what owner Michelle Pugh has seen every single day since 1983.
I came here to teach diving for 3 months at another dive shop, and after a few years, people believed in me and said, hey, if you want to open a dive shop, we would support you, and kind of raised the funds and did it.
But Pugh doesn't just sell flippers and shades. She scuba dived all around the world. Her and her staff lead 2 deep-sea ocean diving sessions every single day to keep the waters moving.
We do a 2-tank dive every morning at 9 o'clock. We have an afternoon line fish hunt at 2 o'clock today. So, as long as we got people, we're going to go.
Pugh also witnessed the recent Hurricane Maria that hit St. Croix firsthand. But she says it's more of a cleansing thing for the sea life's beauty.
I've been through the hurricane, so I was pretty prepared. But the aftermath is always bad. It affected our dock, which is not there anymore. I have no idea when it'll be rebuilt. All the docks are missing in Christiansted.
Hope, courage, and persistence. 3 things that prove Pugh and her business won't get tied down. For Rctv, this has been Shelby Dorshow, Brendan O'Connor, and Sebastian Garza.
For my story, my group sought out one of the most popular Buck Island tours in St. Croix. We even got the opportunity to check out the reef for ourselves, but we'll see that later in the show. For now, here's Big Beard's Adventures. Big Beard's Adventure Tours is located in downtown Christiansted and provides multiple boating tour services. It is one of the most popular island tours in St. Croix, providing service for 35 years.
Well, Big Beard's Adventure Tours has been around since 1983. Big Beard himself moved down here in 79 and worked on one of the Buck Island boats. And he eventually bought another boat with a friend and has been operating Big Beard's Adventure Tours since 1983.
We sat down with the founder and former owner of the company, known as Big Beard himself.
I started it in 1979 when I came to St. Croix. I started crewing on a boat to Buck Island, and I loved it so much that I worked my way into the business. Got my first boat in 1983 and have pretty much been building it from there.
We offer two different tours. We do full-day and half-day tours of Buck Island. So Buck Island is a national monument. It's about 6 miles from town, about 1.5 miles, 2 miles offshore.
We have a full-day trip, which is usually on the sailing catamaran. That's 9:30 to 3:30. We give out snorkel equipment, instructions, practice snorkeling, enjoy the beach for a while. Then we get on the boat, go around to the reef where they have the underwater trail and the markers. Once we're done snorkeling, we get on the boat and we leave Buck Island and come back to a remote beach on the north shore of St. Croix where we go into the trees for barbecue lunch.
It's been a national park since the 60s during the Kennedy administration. So, a very special place. But our tours, our half-day tours are just a shortened version of the full-day tour. It's on our power boat, our newer boats. We go to the beach, then we go to the snorkel trail, and then we come back to town.
Not only does Big Beard's provide Buck Island tours, but they also have a small shop right across the boarding dock.
I'm the store manager, so obviously I'm in here. We sell trips. I purchase most of the merchandise that we sell in the store. We do the phones, we do emails, everything except run the boat. We sell a lot of souvenir t-shirts. There's lots of things that you might need when you're on the beach, like koozies, towels. We sell swimwear. We do sell snacks, soda, beer, chips, water. We sell snorkeling gear, but then we also have a section of the store, a boutique section, where we have nicer, more higher priced women's and men's clothing, flip-flops, sandals, that sort of thing. Just everything. Everything you need if you're going to be here in St. Croix, pretty much.
We later asked how the last year's recent hurricane has affected Big Beard's business here in St. Croix.
Hurricane Irma hit the other Virgin Islands earlier in September, and we were largely unaffected by that. Power was out here in many places, but we had started, after Irma, we had started running supplies over to Coral Bay and St. John, which was completely devastated by the storm. And then as we were watching the weather, we realized Hurricane Maria was coming straight towards us. So we had one last trip scheduled to take supplies over, and we said, we just can't do it. We need to take care of our own boats.
So it affects business greatly. We're anxious to get life back to normal. It's getting there.
A main historical mark here on St. Croix is the fort in Christiansted that's been around since 1738.
We got the chance to interview a park ranger known as Officer Vegas to give us the inside scoop on the fort. Here's Brendan O'Connor.
Located on the north shore of St. Croix, a National Historic Site called Fort Christiansted, a token of the Dutch history of the island, stands guard along the Christiansted Harbor.
Right now, we're actually standing inside the fort. The fort is called Fort Christiansted. It was actually built by the Danes 1738 and was completed in 1749. The purpose of the fort was actually to protect the harbor leading into Christiansted.
For nearly 300 years, the fort has stood tall as the peacekeeper of Christiansted, defending the island from both sea and land attacks.
The object was not to have a land-based attack because of the small brigade, but just to keep the neutrality and to keep it under control, especially with the shipping, the scale house and the shipping that came in for the sugar industry, and also for control of taxation.
The well-preserved fort embodies a history that is seldom told in modern America. For Rctv, this is Brendan O'Connor.
On day 3, we drove out to Point Udall, aka the most eastern point of the United States.
While we were there, we also went on a hike down to the beach. Here's Tony Garcia and Sebastian Garza with a recap of our day 3 adventures.
The Rctv group and I traveled to Point Udall, located on the east end of St. Croix. It's the easternmost point of the U.S. by travel. Sitting on the edge of this cliff is the Millennium Monument, which was built on January 1st, 2000. Lily, Brendan, Cameron, Abby, myself, Tony, and Lindsay hiked to a cliff south of the monument. Although it may be a long climb, the payoff is worth it in the end, because once you've reached the top, you're gazing at the beautiful scenery that stands before you. For Rctv, this has been Sebastian Garza and Tony Garcia.
On day 4, we got the chance to see the oldest living sugar plantation on the island that's been around for 288 years.
It was founded by the Danish West Indian Company. We sent out Lindsay Miller to give us a little history about the plantation.
On one of our last few days in St. Croix, we took a trip across the island to the Estate Wim Sugar Mill Museum. Our tour guide took us through the museum where the history of the estate was plastered all over the walls. She then took us into one of their kitchens where we had tea made from the sugar that was grown on the land. She also showed us how the sugar was made.
On a windy day when they were going to crush the sugar canes, a few strong men, or slaves or women men, they're going to turn that rotor. That means they're going to turn the cap of the mill in the direction of the wind. Then this will start spinning. Those are the blades. Then the rollers start rolling. So you have those in the back pushing back. So what happens? It's cane juice. The juice spills out into this pipe and runs right down into the boiling house. Okay?
Finally, we ended the tour with a song that originates in St. Croix about an animal that would sneak into the kitchens at night and eat their food.
Sly mongoose, don't know your name. Sly mongoose, oh, what a shame. He went into Miss Mary's kitchen, eat up one of her pigs, that chicken, hide it under the kitchen table. Sly mongoose.
This has been Lindsay Miller from Rctv.
On our 5th day, we got the chance to have a little fun. We sailed out to the Buck Island Reef National Monument.
And let's just say, we got to see nature at its best. Here's Lily Bullock and Abby Stinson with a recap of our underwater adventures.
We're going to Buck Island today.
Buck Island is a national marine preserve where all of the wildlife and coral are protected by the government.
Mr. Vaughn was out creating his own videos too.
He actually created a parody to the popular song God's Plan by Drake, which he calls Suntan.
I've been thinking about going to the beach. It's just outside, it's not out of reach. Maybe get some rays on this old skin. Use sunscreen cause it's the trend. Suntan. Suntan. Not too dark, maybe just well done. Just a couple hours out in the sun. Look at all those girls, they're having fun. If they come around here, I've got to run. Suntan. Suntan. Maybe later on get a bite to eat. It's getting hot here in the heat. Starting to sweat and that's no fun. Skin's turning red, so I guess I'm done. Suntan. suntan, suntan, suntan. Grab my towel and my snorkel mask. Jump in the water, but not too fast. See all the fishes under the sea. That feels better on my skin and me. Suntan, 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 suntan. Suntan.
We've had an absolute blast on this trip, and we hope you did too by watching this show.
We'd like to thank all of the people that made this trip possible, such as our Snap Race sponsors.
It's been an incredible 3 years for both of us in Rctv, and we are so thankful for the amazing memories we've made along the way.
And if you have a passion for making videos and would like to be a part of an amazing crew, don't worry, because we'll be having auditions for next year soon.
For Rctv, this has been Shelby Dorshow
and Cameron Worthy, signing off one last time.
All right, I'm here with Cam.
Woo!
We're about ready to head out from St. Croix. It's been a fun adventure, huh, Cam?
It has. It really has been fun. Definitely once in a lifetime opportunity.
And so everybody's packed and ready to go. We just got to go get us something to eat for lunch and then head to the airport.
Yep.
It's been quite an adventure with all these kids. My last trip, after doing it 3 times.
My last Rctv trip, my last Rctv anchor. Pretty bittersweet.
Yep, same for me since I'm retiring. So, signing out from St. Croix.
You're not going to sign out without me, are you?
No.
You kidding me right now?
Couldn't forget about Shelby.
No, Shelby's got her ukulele.
Want to hear a little?
Let's hear a little bit, Shelby. Yeah, sing us out, Shelby. Sing us out.
Leave it St. Croix. It's bittersweet.
Yeah.
Ooh, suntan.
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 Yeah. Suntan.
Suntan. Suntan.
Bye, St. Croix.